It's 1 a.m. in a cold garage in Ohio, and you are still awake. You're scrolling through a feed of people who seem to be winning at a game you didn't even know you were playing. Your old roommate is on a rooftop bar in Miami. Your coworker just posted his new white Tesla. And you are sitting in a 10-year-old truck, clutching a lukewarm Starbucks cup, looking at a bank account that hasn't moved in 3 years. It feels like a punch in the gut, doesn't it? You ask yourself the same question every single night. How are they affording all of this? Are they smarter than you? Did they catch a lucky break you missed? Or maybe you are just the only one left in America who actually pays their own bills. You make good money, 6 figures even, but after the mortgage, the $900 car note, and the endless subscriptions, there is nothing left but silence and stress. You are living a high-income life, but you are broke as hell. Welcome to the fake rich illusion, a world where everyone is performing and nobody is winning, where people finance their manicured lawns with high-interest credit cards and hide their foreclosure notices behind Ring doorbells. It is a circus of debt, and you have been trying to keep up with clowns. But today, the performance ends. We are going to open the hood of this lie and show you the brutal math of why you feel so behind. I am the wealth mechanic. I don't care about your Instagram aesthetic. I care about your engine. And right now, your financial engine is leaking oil and running on fumes. Let's stop pretending. Let's start fixing, because your first $20,000 is waiting for you, and it is going to change everything you thought you knew about freedom. Walk through any suburban street in Texas or Ohio and you see the same curated masterpiece. 3,000 square foot homes with manicured lawns and Ring doorbells watching for packages you don't really need. But let me tell you what happens when the sun goes down and the garage door closes. You are sitting at your kitchen island, the expensive marble one you're still paying off, staring at a stack of mail that feels heavier than it looks. You hide the credit card statements under the junk mail because you aren't ready to see the numbers yet. You look at your wife and you both smile, but the smiles don't reach your eyes anymore because you're both thinking about the property taxes and the fact that the AC unit just started making that expensive rattling noise. You feel like a fraud. You feel like a high-income actor playing the role of a successful adult while your bank account is screaming for help. You are house poor, car poor, and soul tired. You are tired of performing for neighbors who are just as broke as you are. You are tired of the constant knot in your stomach every time you swipe your card at Target, wondering if this is the time it finally gets declined. It's not just about the money anymore. It's about the shame of being a grown man who makes 6 figures but still feels like a child waiting for a disaster to happen. I know that feeling because I have been under that same hood, trying to fix a life that looked perfect on the outside but was burning oil on the inside. You are not alone, but you are stuck. And the first step to getting out is admitting that this polished American dream has become a gilded cage. Let's stop the poetry and look at the blueprints, because the math of the American home in 2026 is absolutely brutal. You bought into the lie that a mortgage is an investment, but for most of you, it's just a high-interest subscription to a lifestyle you can't afford. Look at the numbers. The median home price is hovering at $400,000, and you likely put down 3% because that $80,000 down payment was a fantasy. That means you are financing nearly the entire dream at a 7% interest rate. Do you realize what that does to your life? Your $3,000 monthly payment is eating 60% of your take-home pay. You are working 40 hours a week just to keep a roof over a house that you don't even own. The bank owns the dirt, the bank owns the bricks, and the bank owns your freedom for the next 30 years. You call it homeownership, but I call it financial quicksand. Every time you pay that bill, you aren't building wealth. You're just paying for the privilege of staying stuck. And then there are the invisible vampires, the property taxes that climb every year, the insurance premiums that double because of a storm you didn't cause, and the constant repairs that drain your emergency fund before it even has a chance to grow.
You are one broken water heater away from a panic attack. You are house poor, living in a museum of your own debt, surrounded by square footage that you don't use but have to heat and cool every single day. This isn't an asset, it's a liability with a manicured lawn. You are trading your best years, your energy, and your peace of mind to maintain a facade for people who aren't even looking. It's time to stop pretending that this debt trap is a foundation for wealth. It is a cage, and the bars are made of 30-year fixed-rate contracts. If you want to build real freedom, you have to stop worshiping the bricks and start mastering the math. Now let's walk out to the driveway and talk about the biggest lie detector in American finance: your car. In 2026, a new truck or an electric SUV is the ultimate badge of success. But for most of you, it's just a shiny anchor dragging you to the bottom of the ocean. Look at that thing sitting in your garage. It looks powerful, it smells like leather and status, but it's actually a parasite. The average new car payment in this country has blown past $700, and if you're driving a full-size truck, you're likely looking at $1,000 every single month. You signed up for a 72-month loan, or maybe you stretched it to 84 months just to make the numbers fit your ego. That is 7 years of your life traded for a hunk of metal that loses value every time you hit the highway. You're financing a depreciating asset at 7% interest while your net worth stays at zero. And it doesn't stop at the monthly payment. You have to feed the beast. $200 for insurance, another $200 for gas or charging, and the hidden cost of maintenance that grows as your warranty fades. You are burning $1,300 a month just to sit in traffic and look successful to people who are too busy worrying about their own debt to even notice you. You make $60,000 a year, and you spend 25% of it on a machine that sits in a parking lot for 23 hours a day. It's not transportation, it's a vanity tax. You're working 2 weeks out of every month just to pay for the seat you sit on your way to a job you probably hate. It's a cycle of madness. You buy a car you can't afford to impress people you don't like, using money you haven't earned yet. It is time to stop being a slave to a logo on a steering wheel. That new car smell is just the scent of your freedom evaporating, and until you realize that your vehicle is a tool, not a trophy, you'll always be running on empty. Let's talk about the ghost in the room that nobody wants to mention: the secret safety net. You see a 27-year-old in downtown Nashville driving a brand new BMW, and you feel like a failure because you are still grinding for every penny. But here is the cheat code they will never post on their story: the invisible bank of mom and dad. In 2026, half of all adult children in America are getting a monthly subsidy that would make your head spin. We are talking about $1,500 a month for rent, car insurance, and groceries that just magically appears via Venmo every Friday. They aren't better at business than you, they're just better at being born into a safety net. This is the invisible income effect. You are comparing your raw, unfiltered financial reality against a curated facade that is built on an inheritance or a parental wire transfer. They show you the beach house, but they never show you the trust fund or the paid-off credit card balance that their parents cleared for them last Christmas. It is a distorted game. You are playing on hard mode while they are playing with a golden parachute. And listen, there is no shame in getting help. But there is a massive lie in pretending you did it all yourself. When you stop comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's subsidized Chapter 10, the weight on your shoulders finally starts to lift. You aren't falling behind, you're just fighting a battle without a secret army behind you. And that makes your progress, however small, infinitely more real than their borrowed success. It is time to stop chasing a ghost and start building your own foundation. Walk into any corporate office in Atlanta or any startup hub in Seattle, and you will hear the same noise. People bragging about their portfolios, their index funds, and their aggressive wealth building strategies. It creates this toxic illusion that everyone but you is a financial genius riding the wave of compound interest. But let us look at the actual engine under the hood, Because the data tells a much darker story. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 40% of Americans own zero stocks. Nothing. No 401k, no brokerage account, no safety net. And for the ones who do invest, the numbers are often heartbreaking. The median retirement balance for someone in their 30s is under $50,000. That is not a fortune. That is barely a down payment on a dream that is moving further away every day. You hear people talking about the market because humans love to broadcast their wins and bury their losses. It's selection bias on steroids. What you're seeing is a curated highlight reel of the top 20%, while the rest are barely keeping their heads above water. Even high earners are drowning. Nearly 1 in 4 people making over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. How is that possible? Because income and wealth are not the same thing. You can have a 6-figure salary and still be broke if your lifestyle is a parasite that grows as fast as your paycheck. Stop listening to the guy in the cubicle next to you talking about his crypto gains while he's stressed about a $700 car payment. It's all noise. Real wealth is not a conversation. It's a quiet reality that most people never achieve because they're too busy performing. They're chasing the appearance of being an investor while ignoring the fact that they don't have $1,000 in a savings account for a real emergency. The math is cold and it does not care about your ego. You cannot invest your way out of a spending problem, and you cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of sand. It is time to stop being an observer of other people's fake wins and start being the architect of your own quiet, boring, and real financial security. The hardest part of this journey isn't the math, it is the biology. You need to understand that your brain is still wired for a world that no longer exists. For thousands of years, being cast out of the tribe meant certain death, so your mind became obsessed with status as a form of survival. You buy that luxury car or that oversized house because a primitive part of your brain thinks that looking successful will keep you safe. But in 2026, the tribe has exploded. It is no longer just your neighbors or your coworkers. Now you are subconsciously comparing your life to 8 billion people through a glowing screen in your pocket. You are competing in a game where the tax brackets are different, the countries are different, and the starting lines are miles apart. You feel broke not because you are failing, but because your frame of reference is broken. This is the invisible weight you carry every day. It is the exhaustion of trying to satisfy an ancient instinct in a modern world designed to exploit it. The marketing machines know this. They know how to trigger your fear of being left behind just to sell you another piece of plastic you don't need. But here is the secret. The only way to win a rigged game is to stop playing. Real peace starts the moment you stop asking for permission from people who aren't even watching your struggle. You aren't a failure. You are just a human being trying to navigate a mirage. It is time to forgive yourself for the mistakes you made while trying to belong and start building a life that feels good on the inside, rather than one that just looks good on a feed. It is time to put the tools in your hands and start the real overhaul. You have spent years fueling everyone else's engine but your own, and that ends today. The first step isn't a budget. It is a declaration of independence from the circus of appearances. You start by drawing a line in the dirt. You look at that $1,000 car payment and you see it for what it truly is, a thief of your future. You decide that looking average is a small price to pay for being actually wealthy. We are aiming for your first $20,000, not because it makes you rich, but because it makes you untouchable. That $20,000 is your fortress. It is the money that says no to a toxic boss, no to a predatory loan, and no to the anxiety that has been keeping you up at 1 a.m. You reach it by cutting the invisible leaks, by opting out of the lifestyle arms race, and by realizing that every dollar you save is a soldier in your private army of freedom. This journey will be quiet. It will be boring. Your friends might not understand why you aren't upgrading your life with them, but you will know the truth. While they're performing, you are building. You are turning your income into an engine that works for you, even when you sleep. This is about more than money. It is about taking back your dignity. It is about waking up and knowing that you own your time and your choices. The road to freedom is paved with simple choices made consistently. You have the blueprints, you have the tools, and you have the heart to finish the job. Let us stop the leaks, tune the engine, and finally build something real. Your new life is waiting just past the noise of the crowd.
So here we are. The screen is about to go dark and you will be back in that quiet room with your thoughts. I want you to take a long look at the life you have been maintaining and ask yourself one brutal question. If you stopped performing today, if you stopped trying to impress people who don't even know your middle name, what would be left of the real you? Success isn't the car or the house. It is the peace of mind when the world goes quiet at 2 a.m. You have the heart of a mechanic, and the blueprints for freedom are now in your hands. But remember, a blueprint is just paper until you pick up the wrench. Are you ready to stop pretending and start building? I am the Wealth Mechanic, and I will be here when you are ready for the next overhaul. Leave a comment below with the one fake rich expense you are cutting today. Let us see who's actually ready to get to work. Listen, the garage is quiet now, and the truth is finally on the table. We spent this journey looking at the broken engines of other people's lives, but now it is time to talk about yours. Real wealth isn't a number on a screen or a badge on a grill. It is the quiet confidence of a man who knows that if the world stopped turning tomorrow, his family is safe. The repair starts with a choice. Stop buying the plastic dreams they sell on every corner. Start building your fortress, brick by brick, dollar by dollar. Build that $20,000 wall of protection so high that no emergency can climb over it. It is not about being cheap. It is about being free. It is about the pride of owning your time, your truck, and your soul. If you are ready to stop financing the lie and start owning your life, subscribe and join the garage. We have a lot more to fix. Put the wrench down for a moment and look in the mirror. The machine is ready for a restart. You are the mechanic of your own fate. Now, turn the key and let's drive toward a reality you actually own.